It is the idea, spirit, dream that we should strive to find apples or apple cultivars that makes good cider.
Hello, my name is Ria Windcaller, and I am the producer and cider MC of this weekly podcast, where we speak with makers, cider enthusiasts, and folks within the cider trade from around the world.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Talking about striving to find apples to make good cider, and bringing us into this here episode 445 of Cider Chat was Sune Kroghansen, and Sune is based in Denmark. So we're going to be bringing you a taste of Denmark from someone who I have found to be an extraordinary person. And I've never really met Sune. At this point, it's all been in the virtual world of cider. And I am really feeling like I have a full cup just because of that relationship. And that's the beauty of Ciderville, because it is a global community that inspires each other to keep on taking that step forward and trying something new, which is exactly what Sune did here. He is based in Denmark, and they have a community scene there where they are making cider. So he'll be talking about that and giving us a peek into that world, which I really appreciate. I think it stemmed, one, because you may have heard on some past episodes, if you've been following Cider Chat along, that I've made my attempts to be pronouncing different words from Denmark, different Danish words. And, it's not always so easy to do that. So they've been very kind. But also because he had seen, going back, well, the last time we did this was in season 6, and we're currently in season 9. He had seen that I was trying to elicit you out there in Ciderville to send some stories this way for a segment that we call Stories in Ciderville. And one of the first ones we had was from Ryan Monkman of Fieldbird Cider, and Ryan is based up in Prince Edward County in Ontario, Canada, so not too far from Toronto. And that first one was episode 226. It was titled Northern Spy and the Underground Railroad, and it was a fictional piece that Ryan wrote about the Northern Spy apple and in relationship to the Underground Railroad. I really enjoyed that. It was beautiful, and of course it was all read by Ryan. And then more recently, that was season 5 with Ryan. Then in season 6, I believe it was, we had Stories in Ciderville titled The Mountain and Tub, and that was a story with Wendy and Patrick, who are based in Germany, and they have what is called the 1785 Cidery. And that was episode 273. And then the most recent one we had was episode 326. And what season was that in? 326 was season 7. And that was called Orchards and People. And it was with Alan Supernaut, who is based out in my special spot of Ciderville. So what I'm going to be doing is in the show notes at ciderchat.com for this here episode, which is number 445, I will have at the bottom of the show notes links to all those stories in Ciderville, and hopefully inspire you to maybe put your pen in hand or bring out that computer or talk into your smartphone or however you want to do that, and tell us a little story in Ciderville. What inspires you, some cool thing. And I hope that this one coming up here with Sune will do just that, because it's really fun to hear about what is happening around the world in all your special spots out there in Ciderville. So that's what's up. This week is Stories in Ciderville, and when this episode goes live, I will be in Chicago, in Illinois, attending CiderCon 2025.
Hip, hip, hooray!
And I hope to see you there. I'm sure I won't see everybody there because there's a lot of you who can't make it, and folks who listen to Cider Chat who aren't necessarily in the trade per se. You're not doing it necessarily commercial or not commercial yet. So I'll be recording some episodes while I'm there. I have a number of different interviews lined up with folks, and just enjoying getting that networking and connectivity and getting inspired by fellow professionals in this industry that keeps our cup full. So that's what's going to be happening there. So when I come back, I'm going to take a break right here just for a moment. When I come back, I have a couple tips for you if you are on your way right now to CiderCon 2025, which is, as I said, taking place in the Windy City known as Chicago. I could go on and on with tips, but I'm going to keep it really simple. If you have a smartphone on you, and you're at the airport, whatever airport you are at, if it's O'Hara or the Midway, just use your little app there to put in the address of where you're staying at. Hopefully it's the Hilton, which really supports the American Cider Association because they do need to sell a certain amount of rooms to keep on getting a really bonus rate to stay there. So that's a great way to support the association. But you take the metro, it's only about, under $3 to get you there. Or you could take a cab for $50. So guess which one I'll probably be taking. And the other thing I want to say is when you get to the Hilton, if you're staying at the Hilton, or whatever airline you're flying on, sign up for their membership. It's going to cost you nothing. And it's going to give you a lot back, especially with the Hilton, because if you are a member of Hilton Honors, you get free Wi-Fi in your room. Otherwise, you're going to have to go down to the lobby, which might be cool. Maybe you like working that scene. But for me, I'm cracking open my little can of Starbucks to go, which I always bring with me, because you don't want to see me, Ciderville, in the morning without coffee. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Well, okay, it's not that I look crazy. It's just I may not be able to, speak so clearly. So I always throw in a couple of those little espresso cans to kick off my morning. And boy, it's just a nice way to wake up when you're away from home. And I like to have a little Wi-Fi in my room, too, and not have to pay for it. Podcasters, we have to look for those little ways. And the truth is podcasters and cider makers, we're kind of the same. Like we're super, super niche. We have to keep on educating people about what we do. No, I'm not a blogger. I'm a podcaster. Yes, I have show notes. No, I'm a podcaster. I produce. I have multimedia. Yeah, you know the story. So these are my 2 tips. Join whatever airline that you're flying on. Join their membership. It's free. It allows you, if there's any kind of delays, to get better service typically. And also become a Hilton member. Get free Wi-Fi. Everything to gain there. I'm happy to report that Cider Chat has a new patron, and we have an email from this patron who wrote, "Hi, Rhea. I don't think we actually met officially, but we have been in the same room before. I've been attending CiderCon since 2023 when I took the Certified Palmier exam and judging at Glencap. I've been listening to the podcast and enjoying it thoroughly, and I am a supporter of PBS and NPR, so I thought it's time to contribute a little. You do a great job, and the conversations are interesting." I asked David, and that's the name of this new patron. I don't give out last names, but David is his name, and he wrote that he found out about the podcast from friends that he made at CiderCon. So thank you, all you folks out there at CiderCon, for sharing that there is a resource like Cider Chat. And then he also wrote about his journey to cider, and that it started when he was a young line cook working in fine dining in New York City. He tasted French cider and Calvados, and it was love at first sight. I have no doubt, David. And then I discovered all the great cider made in New York and New England, and I read every book on cider I could find, and then discovered CiderCon in 2022. I'm a certified palmier now, and I lead cider tastings and food pairing events in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I manage bar operations for a music venue. My style of cider is dry, but I appreciate them all. And David's going to be attending CiderCon, so I can't wait to meet up in person and raise a glass and just cheer to all the good things that are happening in the world. Looking for those little crumbs and also the big pieces of pie, too, that really make our day. You got to find it where you can. And not let anybody take that away from you. So I'm really looking forward to CiderCon this week and meeting you, David. Thank you so much for becoming a patron. Your support really helps, and I want to encourage other listeners out there in Ciderville, if you get value from this podcast, please do hit the donate button at ciderchat.com or become a patron at the Cider Chat Patreon page. Just Google Cider Chat and Patreon. It's spelled Patreon.
Walking through the orchards.
Over this past year, probably you, like me, has seen cider riders and cider platforms and cideries stepping down or even turning off completely. Most recently, I heard from Hugh, who hails from Australia and had a platform called Real Cider Reviews, that he too was stepping down. Now, I really liked Hugh, and we even did a podcast episode on cider books, so that kind of news, it was hard to hear, or that Cider Junction was closing their doors in San Jose, California. This is part of the ebb and flow of business, and because we're a connected community, it kind of brings a little bit of a tear to my eye every time I hear that. It's like gut-wrenching, to tell you the truth. So with that in mind, I wanted to take a moment to reintroduce myself and Cider Chat and give you a little bit of the state of affairs, if you will, of Cider Chat, and to also give you a sense, whether you are new to the podcast or not, exactly what we do here at Cider Chat and where we're going. So let's begin with, my name is Rhea Windcaller, and I'm the host, producer, and the CEO of Cider Chat, LLC. And as of January 2025, Cider Chat, the brand name, has now been officially trademarked. It wasn't easy nor inexpensive to trademark Cider Chat, but this isn't my first trademark rodeo, and thus I persevered. And if you have a brand, I highly recommend that you trademark that name too. Cider Chat holds the largest oral history of cider in the world, and in my mind, that is worth preserving. But Cider Chat is more than a podcast at this point. And if you told me where it was going to go, I wouldn't have believed it. But here we are, and we're kind of keep on moving forward, which I hope will make you feel upbeat. That may seem like a little thing to be upbeat, like beak whoop, but I'll tell you, in 2025, I'm taking anything I can to stay upbeat and to keep on moving forward. And by having you upbeat, well, in turn, we spread that wealth around. At Cider Chat, the mission is to extend beyond just simply sharing a passion for cider, perry, and all things palm. We look through engaging interviews with cider makers and enthusiasts and key figures in the cider trade, and we also bring you stories and insights that showcase cider's culture and culinary importance across different regions around the world. This isn't just a blog or a casual side project. This is a global platform dedicated to elevating cider. We are about dynamic podcasting, multimedia content, and immersive cider tours that connect cider fans with the makers, the places, and the traditions that make cider an integral part of regional dining experiences. And now, with Cider Chat officially trademarked, we're solidifying our place as a leading voice in the cider industry. This means even more content, deeper connections, and a stronger commitment to growing the cider community. So whether you're here to learn, to explore, or to sip along with the conversations, Cider Chat is your go-to source for everything cider. Which means, if you want to help keep Cider Chat rolling, subscribe, share this podcast like those folks did at CiderCon with David, and if you're feeling extra generous, consider supporting through the Cider Chat website, the donate button, or by becoming a patron of Cider Chat today. Your support keeps the conversations going and the cider flowing. Which means when I see you at CiderCon, if you've done a brand and you've done that trademark, let's get together and raise a glass, because this is quite the journey, and I'm looking forward to what's ahead. And as always, looking forward to exploring the wide, wide world of Ciderville with all of you.
Dancing in the streets.
I think, Rhea, that you should just say that you're not a blogger.
Well, I could, but I think we're a little bit more than a platform that has show notes and a podcast.
Indeed, Rhea, indeed, but sometimes you just need to get to the point.
Duly noted, Perry Pear.
Nobody was making Quince cider when we started.
That's true, Mr. Quince, and look where we are now.
Uh-huh, and Medlars, too.
I know, Medlars, yeah. That's why it's kind of good to update everybody. Anyways, I think we should move on because we got to start packing for CiderCon so we could get this episode out early enough for everybody who is traveling there this week. What do you say?
Let's make it so.
All right, then, without further ado, let's go to our featured presentation titled Stories in Ciderville from Sune Kroghansen of Denmark for this edition of Stories in Ciderville.
An Unspoken Creed by Sune Kroghansen, Ville, Denmark. Rødding. The start of the cider adventure in Rødding. In the mid-zeros, the villagers of Rødding had begun making cider. It faded due to the focus on grafting, planting, and nursing the thousands of apple trees that the city villagers had planted. In the fall of 2018, focus was about to change once again. The apple trees was maturing, and a decrease of nursing time left time for something else. Organized by the association Æblets i Salling, the apple village, a congregation was held. 200 of interested participants met in the community house of the small village of Rødding in Salling. Amongst was participants living close by, living in the municipality and in the region, and a scarce few from far away. The desire to use the apples for more than just planting. Apple juice production was already a major activity in the village, inspiring the entreprenant townsfolks to move further, creating activity, community and jobs from the apples grown. Those present discussed the opportunities of diversifying activities, moving into cider production along with vinegar, jam, jelly production. During the fall of 2018 and winter of 2019, the first cider was fermented. Apples from the gene bank Pometel nursery, part of Copenhagen University, was used in these ferments. Inspired by, among others, Andrew Lee, Cider Chat, Cold Hand Winery, and the University of Copenhagen Department of Plant Science, fermentation and experimentation started with a steep learning curve. OE, capsule, corks, aglet, disgorging, remoirs, tirage, liqueur d'expédition, brown hat, SO2, what is that? Eggy smell, ester, alcohol taxes, vat, tank cleaning, oak, food safety control, acid. We tasted, we laughed, we spit, we drank, we smelled, with a focus on experiencing and the excitement of the taste experience. We tried to greet a new taste or new flavor by saying, I don't know you, what can you do? What makes you shine? Of course, everyone has a favorite taste, but experience has taught us that there is a great variation, and good taste depends on what the cider is to be used for. The Cider Club meets regularly, both with the focus on cozy togetherness, but also with the focus on technical details, training cider crafting techniques, and the tastes and sensory, promoting, spreading the joy of fermenting apples. I don't know if the word creed or credo was discussed. I don't think so. However, a spirit has been underlying everything, though unspoken. The unspoken creed. It should taste good. It should be as local as possible. It should preferably be unmanipulated. Although natural is a well-worn word, it is the idea, spirit, dream that we should strive to find apples or apple cultivars that makes good cider. The cultivars should also be able to grow on a healthy, unpruned, untended tree where we live. They should be easy to press into apple juice. The juice should be fermented alone without adding anything other than thyme. It should be able to keep without anything other than a lid. It may be construed as a naive dream that does not abide into modern production society, nor does it fit efficient agriculture, and probably not even practically possible. So there have been deviations from this idea along the way, mostly to follow the first part of the unspoken creed: the cider must taste good. Like a vanilla bean that tastes fantastic, but is not particularly widespread growing in Denmark. So if you want vanilla taste, you must use imported vanilla seeds. So if khaki fruits, sulfur, sugar, oak, pineapple, oranges, erythritol, lactose, pasteurization, elderflowers are necessary to achieve good cider, then so be it. The Cider Club is a spirit and a loose part of the international movement of cider from pure apple juice. We strive to include everyone and avoid selfishness or self-sufficientness. We are not signers of the new Nordic Food Manifesto of 2004, but looking back on our history, it has influenced us tremendously. With a mixture of Epicurean joy of life and the joys of the table, sustainable thinking and naive optimism. The best we can do, each thing in its own time. But we originate from the village of the apples, so the foundation is the diversity of the old apple cultivars. The hope is to create something that people would choose to enjoy, and it should be fun along the way, without ruining anything for the world of tomorrow. Wassail.
Thank you so much, Sune, for taking the time to share a bit about your special spot in Ciderville in the country of Denmark. And I really do hope that inspires others out there in Ciderville to do the same. There'll be more info on how to get your story in Ciderville posted on the podcast by going to the show notes for this here episode 445 of Cider Chat. Or just put in the search button at ciderchat.com Stories in Ciderville. I have an update about the 2025 Totally Cider Tour UK edition. It's happening. Yeah, we're getting close to being sold out for this tour. So if you've gotten a notification to sign up for the tour and you haven't taken steps forward, I'm going to really recommend do it now while the reservation line is still open. And if you haven't gotten a notification and you want to know about the tour, send an email today to info@ciderchat.com. Put Cider Tours in the heading, and we'll try to set you up. We will not be adding people onto this tour. We have a set number of folks that we could take, and it's just the way it is this time around. And I'm sorry about that. I wish I could make it easier, but we're trying to make it as easy as possible. I'm over the top for the itinerary for this tour. Really happy that I went there after France, the French cider tour that took place this past fall, and met up with the Showering family. Really excited to be able to share a glass of that Showering triple vintage. Absolutely delicious cider that they're making. Going to see Neil Worley and Kimberly Jones, who are both on the podcast last week, off their little beaten trail there to have lunch with them, and then down to Roger Wilkins, the king of cider, and having a totally different experience there. And then it will be going to Wilding Cider, hanging out with Sam and Becky. You know, it's just incredible, the opportunity, Ross Cider Festival. There's a lot of cider makers on this tour, and yet somehow it's going to be all the spaciousness too, especially going to Weston Supermar. Very excited about that because we'll be right on the beach of the Bristol Channel, which is a pretty big waterway. And as such, I would liken it to being on Cape Cod, where you could be out in Provincetown and see the sunset, even though you're on the East Coast, because the way the land is with the coast. It's kind of crazy. So even though from across from Western Supermar is Cardiff, and Wales and all that, you still get to see the sunset into the water. It's really magnificent. And the town itself is it feels a little forgotten. And we found it. We found this fantastic cider bar there that is just going to be a blast. We're going to have a little cider dinner at the cider bar. And, and then head up towards the National Peri Pear Museum, go to Ross Cider Festival. We're going to be hanging out with James Forbes of Little Pomona. Yeah, okay, I could go on and on, but I did want to give you an update that, the seats it's getting closer and closer. We're definitely over halfway filled, and it's looking good. So, once again, send an email to info@ciderchat.com, put in Cider Tours on the top there, and we'll help to keep you in the loop. And with that, Ciderville, I leave you here. This is Rhea Windcaller signing off for now. Looking forward to seeing you in Ciderville.
We like cider, we like palms, we love orchards and having fun. There is a reason why we do it like this. Oh yes there is. There is a reason why we do it like this. Oh yes there is. There is a reason why we drink it like this. Oh yes there is a reason. We like walking through the orchards, dancing in the streets, smelling all the blossoms, kicking up our feet. We like cider, we like palms, we like orchards, having some fun. There is a reason why we do it like this. Oh yes there is. There is a reason why we do it like this. Oh yes there is. There is a reason why we drink it like this. Oh yes there is. There is a reason. We like walking through the orchards, dancing in the streets, smelling all the blossoms, kicking up our feet. Oh yeah. We like cider. Oh yes we do. We like palms. Oh yes we do. We love orchards, having some fun. There is a reason why we do it like this. Ba-da-da-dum. There is a reason why we do it like this. Ba-da-da-dum. There is a reason why we drink it like this. Ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-dum. We like walking down the orchards, dancing in the streets, smelling all the blossoms, kicking up our feet. Oh yeah. We like cider. Ba-da-da-dum. We like palms. Oh yes we do. We like orchards, having some fun. Yeehaw!